Today we'll be recording a very unique instrument known as the Waterphone on the score I've been working on. A good friend of mine, Thomas Hynes, is developing his own versions of this instrument, and I was very fortunate last year when he was first working on this to travel out to his metal shop and see some of the processes that went behind this. So we're going to get some of that behind the scenes footage, and then we'll come back and he'll demonstrate the different ways that you can play the instrument and some of the sounds that you can get from it.
You can put like 10 nuts on here, screw them down on the lathe, and then you can turn it down so that it's round on the outside.
Okay.
Because that would if we braze these onto the rim of our dish, people are going to look at it and it's like, oh, there's a bunch of nuts he's brazed onto there.
Right.
Looks like 1 1/4. This thing's sort of no-handed. You can set it to drop by itself. And then, you see it turns itself off. So you can go for coffee. I would shift this over here. And go up a little further, and then I would go to E, C. So I would set this one over to E, and I'd set this one all the way over to C. And that would give me 16 threads per inch. I'm thinking we should do a little polishing on this while we can. That's what I like about the silver soldering. It's very pretty subtle and neat. Oops. Spot on.
So that was just a very quick behind-the-scenes look at the production of Tom's Waterphones. He spent many months perfecting the materials and methodology of putting them together. He's got the typically microtonally tuned Waterphones, but he also has some tuned to a chromatic scale. He's also got ones that have removable, interchangeable rods, so some really interesting ideas here. I'm going to turn it over to Tom now and have him explain to you some different ways to play the Waterphone and some of the different sounds you can get from the Waterphone.
I'll show you 3 ways here. The most common is the violin bow, and you need rosin to really grip onto the metal rods. And the stickier base rosin works quite well relative to most violin rosin. I'll put a little rosin on the bow. And then with the Waterphone, you have the rods, and you just sort of bow the rods. Like that. And then you can also, another trick is with some of these little rubber mallets on the bottom, you can get a nice and also just various other little mallet type things, like this little piece of wood. You can get a variety of sounds. And then finally, one way that is often do is actually, since this can hold water, is you put some water down through the handle into the bottom. And then when it's played, you can, by swishing it around, you can sort of modulate the sound a bit. And like that. And then you have to remember not to hold it upside down at this point. That's your basic waterphone.
You may have recognized some of the sounds that Tom was playing as being used in space-themed movies or horror movies, and yes, that's a very typical way that the waterphone is used. But there's so much more to the instrument. Currently, it's being used quite often in the score for Wicked. So I hope that you'll give this instrument a look and try it in your scores. If you'd like to contact Tom, I'll put his information in the about. We're going to get back to our session. I just want to thank you all for following along, and I'll see you all next time.